Well, how do you like that? The Pittsburgh Penguins are suddenly a juggernaut. Hi, I'm Dan Kingerski on the Pittsburgh Hockey Now platforms, YouTube and Facebook. Before I get going, do me a favor, give me the like and subscribe on YouTube, and just I'll take the like on Facebook. So the Penguins beat the New Jersey Devils 7-3 here at PPG Paints Arena on Saturday. How they got there. You almost wish this team would have found this 2 months ago, because this could be a really fun ride. As it is, it's kind of like the last part of the roller coaster when you're just going to hang on and see where it goes. The Penguins suppressed the Devils to just 14 shots in the first two periods. The Penguins, conversely, scored 3 goals on their first 12 shots. That's the timely goals the Penguins have been getting over this 4-game winning streak. Oh, by the way, that 4-game winning streak also coincides with one Tristan Jarry playing lights out in goal. It's been something to see. Tristan Jarry looks like an entirely different goaltender. He looks like the guy that everybody was waiting for several seasons. He looked like the guy who would show up and then sort of leave. Now he's done it 4 straight games. Here's what Jarry's doing a little bit differently. Before I get into the nuts and bolts of the game and the player grades and all of that, let's talk about Tristan Jarry, because he's not succumbing to the pressure. He's not getting scrambly in the process. That's allowing him to make big saves, key saves at very important moments. That's allowing the Penguins to stay in the game. Make no mistake, the Penguins defense is, at times it's a dog breakfast on how they play in the defensive zone, missed coverages, turnovers. The Penguins really do have just a sketchy, at best, blue line. But the forwards helping out, Jarry playing incredibly well. I don't know if you can hear the high-pitched chatter around the corner. Hey, it's St. Patty's weekend. We're downtown Pittsburgh. I guess I'm the guest here. But Jarry is playing that best version of himself. On a Devils power play, first period, makes 2 huge saves on Andres Palat. That changes the game, or that allows the Penguins to change the game. Credit to Bob Grove. The Penguins' shooting percentage now over the last 4 games, as we've turned the page and talk about what the Penguins are doing well, their shooting percentage over the last 4 games is over 21%. They're scoring those timely goals. They're getting, what do you know, big goals at big times, and they're not relying on the big names. To wit, the Penguins' big performances on Saturday were the third line. That's Connor Dewar, Blake Lizotte in the middle, and then Noel Acciari on the right wing. Look, I read Twitter. I'm there all day. I know the heaping helping of criticism that Acciari was getting. Look at kind of how this line is forming. I asked Mike Sullivan about it, and his answer was really just, it was a heavy answer that I wasn't expecting in how he described that third line. Connor Dewar had 2 goals. That's now 3 goals in 2 games for the newly acquired Grinder. He was goalless in 31 games with the Toronto Maple Leafs. He's got 3 and 2 with the Penguins, and not just 3 goals in 2 games, and not just a couple off his lid that's, a better player banged in. It's how they're generating it. And this goes right to Mike Sullivan's comments that they play an honest game. And he used the words, they have no agenda. That was interesting to me. You can read into that. I mean, look, I think we both probably read a book into comments like that, but how they go in the defensive zone, and they've been able to flip the script. Take the puck from the defensive zone against opposing teams' top lines and get it to the offensive zone. You can't possibly overestimate what that means. If you can get Sidney Crosby on the ice in the offensive zone, think of how much less work he has to do, how much less defending that top line has to do, and how much more effective they can be. That's just the baseline. Now you start talking about that third line chipping in goals like they've been doing. Noel Acciari had a couple of good rips, and I joked with him, man, you almost had yourself a game too. He's like, I need to do more of that, meaning get that puck in the dirty area and let it fly. So that was the Penguins' two, I think, pillars to the win on Saturday were the goaltending and the grinders. Okay, here we go. Now we're going to flip the script and talk about the sketchy, the bad, the rough, the disappointing performances. I thought Evgeny Malkin was not very good on Saturday. The play was okay. The penalties, he took 6 minutes in minor penalties. Two, on a hook, really didn't need to do it. And then a 4-minute high sticking penalty when he kind of just, it was a little bit of bad luck. The blade, the tip of his blade catches Brett Pesce, blood's gushing down. Well, that's going to be a 4-minute every day of the week. New Jersey gets a quick power play goal. They closed it within 4-3, entirely avoidable. Malkin has to be better than that. He has to be smarter than that. I mean, he is 38 years old. He should know by now not to put the blade of his stick near the face of an opponent in the third period. A couple other rough performances I was going to circle here. Maybe I'm being hard on him because I thought he had the chance to break through and become a regular NHL player. Maybe I'm letting my, a little bit of disappointment creep in to my analysis of Emil Bemstrom. Once again, absolutely vanished. He is now, that's several games in a row that he hasn't shown up on the score sheet, hasn't really contributed, hasn't been much noticeable. That's disappointing because this is his best and last shot to become an NHL regular player. He had a good 20 game plus run at the end of last season, only had a few goals and a couple of assists, like 5 points in, I think, 24 games. And he's not even kind of on that pace right now. He hasn't really shown up since the Four Nations break. He looked really good before it. So I'm circling Emil Bemstrom as one of those players that gets a bad grade on Saturday. Vladislav Kolyachonok as well. His hot potato puck play led to the New Jersey Devils' first goal. One bad breakout, just way too quick, should have skated with it, had plenty of room, had plenty of options, and threw it away. Gets it back, gets another chance, and really does the same thing. Now, he doesn't really get the minus because then he changes, but the Devils are still attacking, which just put everybody else in a bad spot, in a bad situation. I'm not seeing enough from Kolyachonok right now where I'm going to grade him or be optimistic about his Penguins' future. Ryan Graves has developed or is returning to that bad habit of going down way too soon. Graves could have gotten to a couple of spots to make the penalty kill a little better. He didn't. New Jersey scores a couple of power play goals, and if I'm not mistaken, both went right past him. The other, Tristan Jarry, bailed him out 5-on-5 when he drops to one knee to block a shot and just gets walked in the process. He's going down too early before the shooter commits, thus taking himself essentially out of his own defensive play. Obviously, the rest of the blue line kind of sketchy as well. You're not going to circle a lot of plays by Erik Karlsson or Chris Letang on Saturday, which I suppose for Chris Letang, that's sometimes a good thing when you haven't noticed him. So there you go. The Penguins have won 4 in a row. Let's get to the playoff talk. I hate to do it because, yes, they are 4 points back of the Columbus Blue Jackets for a playoff spot, but they're still next to last in the Eastern Conference. They're still just ahead of Buffalo. Here's the rub with the Penguins playoff talk. Yeah, they're 4 points out, but the Columbus Blue Jackets, whom they trail, have 4 games in hand as I stand here talking to you. So in reality, that's a 9 or a 10 point gap that the Penguins would have to overcome. Let's just say Columbus wins 2 of 4, maybe goes 2-1-1, that's a 9 or a 10-point gap the Penguins have to the playoffs. It's still wildly unrealistic. Even if Columbus were to lose all 4, the Detroit Red Wings and everybody else between the Penguins and Columbus, even the Philadelphia Flyers, Montreal Canadiens, keep going down the list, would have to all lose the next 2 or 3 games as well. I suppose it's possible, right? So you're saying there's a chance. All right, kids, I kind of like the backdrop. Maybe I'll try this more often. Plus, I look better in the dark light. That's it for me from PPG Paints Arena. We will do a live chat this week, I promise-ish. All right, I'm Dan Kingerski on the Pittsburgh Hockey Now platforms, Facebook and YouTube. Have fun.